Hi, today we're going to be going over the DP48, the Midas DP48 in-ear monitor system. Whether you're joining the team for the first time or you've been on the team for a while, this is a good refresher. So we're going to get started. We're going to jump in as if it's your first time, and then we're going to do the in-ears thing. So how you put in your in-ears, you make sure that the wire is wrapped around your ear. And it's always a good rule of thumb or good reminder that the black piece is facing inward into your ear. And you just put the black gummy into your ear, and then the wire is always best if you can put it inside your shirt so it hangs out from underneath. But that is how you put your in-ears, and you're ready to go. The following step is the pack. You'll see a pack here. And the best thing to do is to have the volume right in the center. And this has a battery, and then usually you have the pack is labeled as well. All right, so let's jump right in. So you're standing in front of the DP48. The power button is in the back, and there's a safety feature. Let's just wait for this to power on. It says turn down the volume. So all you're going to do, these are the master volumes for both sides. You're just going to turn this down, and then you'll be able to use it. And good rule of thumb is just right at noon. So your pack is at noon, and the DP48 on both sides is at noon. And then, so the cool thing about this is that there's two sides. There's two in-ear monitor systems on this one box. There's Mix A and Mix B. So you essentially have two packs into one box. The bird's eye view navigation is this. Basically, you have all the things here, all the instruments, all the vocals on this bird's eye view here. And then the labels, basically, if it says drums and that says 1, here you are on drums. And you'll know you'll be on it whenever the number lights up. And how to get out, you just press the button again. So sometimes what will happen is you'll have a mix, and right underneath each label there is a volume. If you can see that, it's green. Sometimes whenever you have a muddy mix, it'll go all the way up to red, and you'll see the light turn red here. So like check 1 2. You see how that B turns red? That's going to suppress, and that's going to bring down everything inside your mix. It's going to sound like nothing is clear, and nothing is coming through. If you cannot hear anything through the DP48s, the best thing to do is to troubleshoot. Usually this green or this in will be green if everything is working properly, and it'll be red if it's not working properly. The best thing to do is always to turn off the DP48 and just troubleshoot that way, and all the sound should be coming in once it is green. And then we're gonna go over the features that are here. So the master volumes on each side is on the top right and the top left. This is for monitor Mix A, monitor Mix B. So this is going to be your master volume here. Now let's just say that let's just say you're a vocalist, right? So you are here on vocal channel 9. These little quick action knobs are very useful. So how you do is that you hold down the mix button, and it tells you to select which one you want to assign. Let's just say it's number 9. Okay, so now that is set. Now, if you're in the middle of a set and you're doing something and you just don't want to have to press this button and then turn the volume, all you do is go up to this knob and you just turn this knob up or down. Now, here's a very important one. The edit button has a gain. This is not a volume knob. All these should be set to 0. Sometimes I've seen people use it as a volume knob, but the problem with that is that if you turn this up it turns up the volume on both mix A and mix B. So if you're in the middle of a set or you're doing a sound check and you're turning this edit knob up or down, it's affecting both sides. So the best thing to do is just to make sure that your volume is good and just save this as a last resort. What I always recommend, if you have someone who is speaking very softly or singing very softly, or the musician isn't putting out so much output, have your audio guy, your front of house, gain it up from the board. And even then, after that, if you still need a little bit of volume, that's when you do this. So do not use this as a volume button, use it as a last resort. Okay, let's just say, let's go here. I'm going to teach you how to assign. Let's just say that the vocal is not coming out, or is not coming out exactly where you want it to. That's vocal 9. Or what you want to hear is not, you can't control, or you're not getting any volume from you're not able to adjust the volume from the DP48. Most likely is that it's not assigned. So how do you find it? You go to assign, or an instrument, right? So you go to assign, and you get this little yellow square. You see how this light is lighting up? When you hover the yellow square over the red dot, you can hear what's coming through, and you see how there isn't a blue square over it. When you click down on this, on select, there is now a blue square, and now that is assigned to the vocal 1, and you can see it coming out there. So if you ever can't find an instrument and you know that it's in the system, but you don't know why it's not coming out on the label, it's probably because it's not assigned. Usually, sometimes what I do is, whenever I'm leading from the vocal mic, and I want all my guitars to be into one group, I will go to 4 and label all acoustics and both electrics into EG or AG. So that just makes things a little bit easier. Now let's talk about what do you call this? Now let's talk about the EQ. So what I use the EQ at times is to help with vocals. Let's just say sometimes what I have to do is that I have to add a lot more highs to my vocal so I can hear a little bit more clarity. Or sometimes an electric guitar is too bright or too pinging, and I need to add more low end or more mid range to kind of round it out, and it's not so damaging or piercing to my ear. So that's how you would do that. So let's just say vocal 1. You want to add a little bit. If you're typically a little bit brighter, on the brighter side, then you would obviously bring this down. This is going to help your in-ear mix just be a little bit more enjoyable. And you can also do the mids. Just bring this down, and then you press in on select to fix the gain. Kind of just bridge that. Go to highs. So what I'm doing here is I'm just creating a little bit more clarity. I'm talking about my voice whenever I sing. If it's flat like that, I can't really hear the detail. If it just sounds really muddy, I can't really hear the detail with my voice. But what I just did, I took out the low end, add a little bit more mid frequencies and a little bit more higher frequencies. That's going to make it a little bit more enjoyable, me able to hear detail in my voice, and it just overall help. And you can use this for any vocal, any instrument, just to make it a little bit more pleasing. Compressor, this button. That's not something that we really touch. You don't have to worry about that. That's something that's already preset so that you don't have to worry about the compressor button. Panning is very important. Let's just say we're vocal 1, and you want to pan vocal 2, 3, and 4. Let's just say vocal 2, you want to pan it to the left. So what you do, if you're on mix A, you just pan to the left or pan them to the right as far as you want. Usually the best thing to do is to pan them as they are on the stage. If you have vocal 2 who is on the far left, you would pan them to the far left just to give a 3D sound to your in-ear mix. Let's just say you're on mix B and you don't know how to get down to mix B. All you do is press the select button and it takes you down to mix B. Reverb is very important. This is a reverb button. Usually on every mix, It should not be off. It should be, the best rule of thumb is always to have it at 0 on both sides. And now what you do, let's just say you're a vocalist. Reverb really opens up the sound in your ear. It makes it feel less like you have in-ears in your ear. And it just makes it feel more like you're singing in a room. Just like it would replicate, like if you're singing in the restroom or singing in a big room, this reverb will definitely make it feel a little bit more open and get rid of that stuffiness in your ear. If you add too much, if you're a singer, you could go flat. If you are an electric guitarist, if you're running reverb through your gear and you're adding more reverb to your guitar, you won't be able to tell what you are playing. So you got to find the right sweet spot for your vocalist. What I always try and do is that I try to make it feel like whenever I'm in a restroom or an empty hall is the right amount of reverb that I usually try and go for. The last thing is the setup. Usually you don't have to worry about this, but one of the things that I do want to touch on is you can choose the kind of reverb that you want to do. There's the ambience, club, hall, or cathedral. Cathedral's the most. I usually try and go for the hall reverb. It just makes it sound a little bit more natural. The cool thing about this DP48 is that you can also record directly from the DP48 through an SD card that is located here in the back. All you do is press the SD. Well, there's no SD in there, but once it's in there, it gives you a couple of options, and the options are here. You can stop it with the square here at the top, play, pause, record, rewind, fast forward. So if you want to record yourself on a Sunday or anytime you use the DP48, let's just say you want to hear how your pitch was, or if you want to hear your tones and you just want to better yourself, this would be a good way to record yourself.